Now to an exclusive story out of Alberta. CBC News has learned that during the United Conservative Party leadership race, fraudulent emails were used to cast votes. Jason Kenney ultimately won that race and is vying to topple Rachel Notley's NDP government just 6 days from now in the provincial election. The CBC's Carolyn Dunn joins me now with more. Hey, Carolyn, great to see you.
Great
Interesting
to be here.
Story. Tell us more. What happened here?
Okay, so I'm going to take you back to when we heard about this, and that was basically, it started with a complaint to the RCMP from a former politician who said, that there was some voter fraud going on. So we started talking to sources, we started getting allegations, that kind of thing, but we just weren't able to nail anything down other than, these pie-in-the-sky allegations. That is until we got leaked some UCP membership lists from the time of the leadership, voter registration list from the time of the leadership, and voter participation lists. And that's when we were able to sort of start data crunching and going through. We found about 49 emails that had sort of the most suspicious domains attached to them. And with the help of some of our data journalists here at CBC, we were able to trace back and find out that they had actually been purchased, that they were not real emails. And further to that, that they had received PINs, which are the personal identification number that you need to vote. And indeed, 31 of those 49 people had been voted for, if you will. So, it's a small sampling, but, when you're dealing with lists of hundreds of thousands, it's impossible for us to go through. We'd need 3 years of investigative time to do that at this point. But so we don't know how widespread it is, and we don't know how isolated it is either. But what we do know is that fraudulent emails were cast in that leadership vote.
And of course, that sort of pigtails on what had been talked about at the beginning of this campaign with the so-called kamikaze candidate who allegedly was brought in to also aid one side of the leadership campaign. So it certainly adds to that. And I know that you spoke, Carolyn, with one of the families that has sort of been unknowingly wrapped up in all of this.
Yeah, we as a team actually spoke to a lot of them, and we had one gentleman who agreed to speak to us as long as we, disguised his identity. We called him Raj, and he found out about this actually when the RCMP came knocking on his door, which was just a couple days before we did. Interestingly enough, we've been doing these parallel investigations, it would seem. And, he told us that his dad is elderly. There's a language barrier, that he was quite scared when the police show up and start, talking about these things. They were wondering if they had done something wrong, which obviously they haven't. But, they're quite concerned that they were used in this fashion and that a vote was cast in their name that they didn't actually cast. And, I think that would be a concern for everybody who values democratic elections.
And so how is the UCP responding?
Well, we just got word from the campaign trail that Jason Kenney has reacted by saying that he is concerned if there is any question about bogus emails being used to cast votes, but he referred our reporter Kim Trinacity back to the campaign. We had been talking to the campaign, obviously. They say that, without being given access to our lists, that we have been leaked to confirm their veracity, and without being given the list of 31 emails that we confirmed had voted, that they're not giving it a whole lot of credence. Of course, we're not going to give them that information because we would essentially be revealing our sources to do so. But they did say that this was the strictest security protocol for any leadership vote in Canadian history, and that they still have absolute they're still confident in the result and that Jason Kenney won by a landslide, and that doesn't change. That's their reaction.
All right, interesting. Thanks a lot, Carolyn. That's Carolyn Dunn for us in Calgary, and we'll pick that discussion up a little later in the show with our Alberta panel.